I'll just write that one off. The This is something that first let me just refresh the page real quick, make sure not everything is just broken. Okay, good. Uh, this is something that Looker does that we can now do a sort of version of, at least in this branch. Just like the ability to put templates for very select things in a field label. So here you see beautiful, beautiful mustache code. The label for this field is zips in the value of the filter on user state, or if we're not in a context where we can get that, then just the word state. There's mustache for you. So if you pop over here, we've got our filter on state. We've got zips in California down in the field picker where there's kind of like no context. It stays zips in state, and you can change it. And there it is. So that's not merged, but I think it's just needs an integration test. So that one's like closer to being real. And that's for the canonical things to do the little metrics.
States?
What?
Can you select multiple states?
It'll only. That's a great question. It just arbitrarily grabs the value of the first one. If we wanted, we could instead decide that the rule is it comma joins it together. I don't know if that we could do. I kind of see it going either way. It won't explode though. It just does that. Like
I'm assuming.
the thing. Oh, go ahead.
Different question. Keep going.
Oh, just yeah, like the core use cases, you've got your this like metric selector thing, and you're like taking the value of the metric, and you want to show the value that you picked as the new label, for which like you really only need one thing. So in this case, maybe we should comma join it. Anyway, yeah, go ahead, Chris.
I was going to ask: are the filter values really the only context you can grab, or what are the other pieces of context
you can
grab here?
basically there's that we're reusing there. I basically split the markdown context has the data, has all the stuff about the data and the rows, and then a few other things. So and those other things are kind of metadata about fields and filters. So I've just pulled that metadata piece out. So this stuff has access to the metadata, but not the data. So the other stuff in the metadata is like other things about other fields, and then basically filters. And right now that's it. There's another feature request to put user attributes to be able to render user attributes in here or in URLs. So follow on from this would be to make the user attribute payload available to and allow URLs to render with it.
I'm thinking, could you do something interesting with this with like a period over period where it actually looks at the other field to determine whether it's week over week or month over month and label it appropriately?
Well, you mean like for the label or for like the actual SQL?
No, for the label, obviously the actual SQL. I'm thinking about a sort of like dependent calc case where if it's just like a the difference between A2 and A1, if it happens to be grouped by week, then that's weekly. If it happens to be grouped by month, that's monthly.
Yes, that I think I'd have to really look at the field's payload and the metadata and think about it, but I think so.
In theory, at least, it might be a little ugly.
Yeah, you should be able to kind of grab something about another field and switch your name around. But speaking of period over period,